Right, and
Well,
I'm recording the class as
and
well.
Joe, one more question. So these things you just set up the gold side and up the auxiliary side. So you'll probably cover this. Should these come from us or should they come from the supervising chat? We have supervisors who are active duty, right? Should they
Yeah.
come from that person? Should we, before as a nominate something, should I talk to the supervisory chaplain?
No,
You don't want to step on their toes.
no, no. And I'll tell you how I'll give you some advice on how to resolve that.
But these
Okay,
are,
you want me to go ahead and start, Don?
yeah, that sounds good. Why don't you just give a quick bio on your background, if you would, Joe, and then get into it, if that'd be all right. And I'll butt out.
Okay, Joe Leonard. I'm down in Houston, Texas. I retired as a Coast Guard commander in 2015. And to show that you can fail at retirement, I immediately joined the Coast Guard Auxiliary so I could keep doing the same stuff I was doing, only not get paid. Um, but I've been down here ever since, mostly in the emergency management programs. I've served as flotilla commander, division commander, uh, district staff officer for emergency management. I've been on national staff for emergency management, and I ran the auxiliary university program for about a year and a half. Um, Awards are something I take very seriously. I have written more awards than anyone currently associated with the Coast Guard. That's a simple fact. I have written over 2,000 awards, and I know how to do these things. I know how to do them right. And I'm going to show you how to do them very easily. And I'll give you some advice on it. And I'm going to finish up with, if you need any help, don't hesitate to ask. And if I'm going too fast or you have a question, jump in at any time. Um, and we'll address it there. If I know it's going to be covered later on in the presentation, I'll just say give me a few minutes, and then we'll give you all the time in the world you want for questions at the end of this. Okay?
Okay.
All right, these are your references. This is where you get all the information you need to do any other awards. There's some stuff there that is particular to Division 6 here in District 8, and what have you. But wherever you happen to be, you may have stuff that applies to you. But obviously, the stuff that's auxiliary and Coast Guard wide is still applicable. Now, awards. See this? This is a plaque. This is a plaque from Division 6, Coast Guard Auxiliary, to me for 136 hours of support, 12 hours of member training, and 10 hours of program visitor for 2025. You know what this is? Firewood. It's bullshit. Secondly, this is what I got for in recognition of services for being a flotilla commander. Again, firewood, garbage. Why is that? What are you going to do with those? Are you going to put them on your wall? Anybody? Yeah, no, you're not. It's going to collect rust, dust, and bird shit somewhere. The way we um, recognize auxiliaries, the only tangible way we can do it through personal recognition is the awards program. And not only that, I don't know what those things cost, but they cost more than an award costs.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's even one more reason to do it. Everyone involved in the Coast Guard Auxiliary can submit someone for an award. Probably the higher you are in the organization, the more weight it'll carry. The more someone an approval authority will give weight to that. But anybody can put anyone else in for an award. And Ben, you talked about being strategic. That's where we need to be strategic. How are we going to put it in? Who are we going to put it into? How are we going to uh, uh, couch it? Recognition has to be timely. This year, we invaded um, Panama, and 53 days later, a Medal of Honor was awarded. 53 days. Actually, the record is 7 days for one of those, but we did it in 53 days. Last year, we saw a Coast Guard petty officer get a Legion of Merit in less than a week. There is no excuse for awards to take for frickin' ever. None whatsoever. I submitted 1 or 2 awards on December 22nd that people are still waiting on because people do not take recognition of auxiliarists seriously. This is the only way you can not only recognize them, but give them something that they can show off to other people with their little chest candy, chest salad. And you don't have to wait to a banquet or a similar event. Timely recognition. Is there anyone here who has not read the 1 Minute Manager? Okay. This falls right under 1 minute praising. That's all it is. Think of it that way. Any auxiliarist can nominate any other auxiliarist for recognition at any time. What we're going to look at today are the top 2 rows. Those are what we call personal awards. Now, the DOT 9/11 medal, you're not going to get that anymore. But the others are all personal awards. They're not given out to units. They're not given out to teams. They're not given out to you because you got a qualification or a certification. Those top 9 awards are your attaboys. That's where we are recognizing you as an individual for something that you have done. Make sense so far?
Yep.
Okay. The district commodore, district captains, division commanders, flotilla commanders should regularly recognize your auxiliarists. If I took a look at one auxiliarist who had been doing the FSO navigation role in 3 different flotillas for 16 years, and he had not been recognized at all for any of those efforts. Now, some people got upset that my award period for him covered 16 years. Well, you know what? It's covering 16 years because nobody else did it. So, when I was a division commander, I looked at my staff officers, I looked at my flotilla commanders, who needed to be recognized, and at what level should they be recognized. I did the same thing as a flotilla commander. And always think of not only the people in command or vice or deputy roles, but think of those staff officers. They're spending a lot of time doing a lot of stuff. If your flotillas are anything like mine, 90% of the work is done by 10% of the people in the unit. And I don't know if it's that way in the chaplain world. I guess at the very least, you all have to do your own sermons or what it happens to be, but you probably share those. And with Chat GPT, it is probably a heck of a lot easier. But always remember those people who are going the extra mile for what's going on in the auxiliary. And I tell flotilla commanders, every flotilla should nominate someone for auxiliarist of the year. Everyone. And you've got your own chaplain flotilla, but you're all in flotillas. This is something you should consider as something for a deserving auxiliarist. And this next line, contact a member of the awards board. Don, how many chaplains are there in the Coast Guard Auxiliary?
Have to unmute. I believe we're just under 100 at the moment, 97, I believe.
Okay, then how many of those used to be division commanders? Rough guess.
Those that used to be division commanders, a handful perhaps.
Maybe 5?
Perhaps, yeah.
See if they want to volunteer to be your awards board. That way you have a group of
Good idea.
people who are serving as the quality control, specifically for that task amongst chaplains.
That's a neat idea.
You understand your roles and what you do better than anybody else. So having an awards board to either, hey, we're going to look at the awards that we're doing every year, get them to us on this day, and we'll get you input back in a month. You know, we recommend going up, going down, you know, whatever it happens to be. Just something you can do that'll make your life a little bit easier. Now, the process for awards at the flotilla level, flotilla commander, we had a division awards board that went to the division commander, then the aux load, then the awarding authority. And I list the awarding authority there because the awarding authority may be DIROCS or the awarding authority, depending on what it is, may be the sector commander or a MSU commander or something like that. If you're doing something that's associated with a hurricane or some sort of disaster, that award may be going through the sector commander. So the awarding authority in that case would be the sector commander. And the awards board it may go through after getting to the awards authority may be through the sector awards board. At the division level, very similar. We had to go through the vice division commander to the awards board, to me, the aux and then the awarding authority. And at the district level or higher, you've already stated that awards are going to come to you. You're going to get it to one of your auxiliaries, then it's going to go to the chaplain of the Coast Guard, who is the awarding authority for everything below, commendation medal and below, she's the awarding authority for. Now, because of the nature of the role she has, she may be authorized to approve MSMs instead of going to a flag officer, especially since the next flag officer in her chain happens to be the vice commandant. So that may be the case. So find out what how Jill is doing that, and we can figure out where we go from there. And if she wants to contact me at any time about that, she's more than welcome to. What the award consists of. The CG 1650, that's your Coast Guard award recommendation. That's your Coast Guard form that you put the information on. Who they are, what their number is, what award you want to give them, if it's a subsequent award, when you would like to give the award. If you know who the people in the signatory process are, you can put that down. If not, leave that blank. But before you send it on, put your name on it and sign it electronically and send it up your chain. With the 1650 will come at least one and maybe two other forms. The first one is the citation to accompany the award. And this is incredibly easy now. Very easy. When I was in, it started off with 19 lines of text, 21 if you put in the operational distinguishing device may be authorized or is authorized. Now it's 12 lines of text or 14 if you have the space and then that line. So we're only looking at 12 lines of text, and the first sentence is already done and the last sentence is already done. So to write an award, you basically need 3 sentences. If you can't write 3 sentences, please go find someplace else to go. Don't be around me. You should all be capable of putting 3 nouns and 3 verbs together in a sentence with a little meat behind it. Okay? The achievement medal, the commendation medal, the medal of merit, the MSM, Legion of Merit, and Distinguished Service Medal. You can see landscape. The margins are there. For the auxiliary letter of commendation, that's done in portrait as opposed to landscape, and you can see the margins there. I have the meritorious team commendation there. You can see that everything is in Times New Roman. It's bold, 12-point font, and justified. Everyone's title. There's only 2 titles in the auxiliary. You're either a Commodore, COM, or you're an auxiliarist, AUX. It's not DSOIM. It's not Mr. So-and-so. Everyone's rank, if you will, is COM for Commodore or AUX for auxiliarist. And everywhere in the body of that citation, if you're awarding it to auxiliarist John Smith, anywhere it says AUX followed by Smith, Smith is in all capitals.
Joe,
Yeah.
we're is my understanding from chap for I'm having some audio. Yeah, I'm back for Can you? All right, Joe, can you hear me at all?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, this is very weird. We can use chaplain, is my understanding.
Yeah, yeah. Chaplains and doctors do have uh, differences there that can be put in.
But do
So
spell it out.
yeah, chaplain at the top, and yeah, if you want it spelled out, spell it out as chaplain. Now, with awards above the meritorious service medal, you also need a narrative to accompany the insert name of medal here. For the meritorious service medal, it's 1 page, 1 inch margins, same font as before. With anything above the MSM, you can go up to 3 pages. So if you want to go above the meritorious service medal or above, there's a little bit more work, but it still shouldn't take you that long in this day and age where we have Chat GPT helping us. Everyone understand the paperwork we got to do so far? Okay. This is the 1650. Have it download it on your computer, keep it. And what I do, I'll tell you how I do awards at the end. But the easiest thing to say is I keep every award I have ever written. Well, I keep every one that I've written since we went away from the 5 1/4 inch floppy disks. I don't have access to those anymore. So yes, I'm dating myself there. But you can see the name, the personal award information. You don't have to worry about the unit and team award. Under that is your signature. That's technically all you need to put in to send it up the chain. Now let's start at the top. This is the highest award we have in the Coast Guard, the Auxiliary Distinguished Service Medal. It's awarded by flag officers. You need the 1650 there, the draft citation, and a 3-page narrative. The opening line for every Distinguished Service Medal is as you see it there. Okay? And Doe being the person's name. Is cited for meritorious or heroic, blah, 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 of duty as, put the position in, and then if you want to put the time in, put the time in. Every award in the Coast Guard has a specific closing line. So the last sentence in the citation is that there. When I do any of the narratives, I use the same opening line, the same closing line, and then I fill in the body of that and I take the best 3 or 4 lines out of that narrative and copy them over into the award citation. Follow me so far on how we do that? Legion of Merit. Everything's the same, except you'll note that we have a different opening line and a slightly different closing line. And it's all the adjectives and adverbs that are used in these. Get down to the plaque of merit, same deal. Meritorious Service Medal, again, same deal. Medal of Operational Merit, that can be captain, commanding officers, or captains or above, and the other positions indicated. All you need is the 1650 and the draft citation. Standard opening line, standard closing line. Down to the Commendation Medal. Commendation medals can be signed by commanding officers who are commanders and above. So if you have a Marine safety unit with a commander and above and you're doing something specifically for that unit, that person, that commanding officer can make that award. Getting down to the Achievement Medal. Oh, that was the Achievement Medal. Getting down to the Letter Commendation Medal. This can be Lieutenant Commander. God, why is that doing that? This can be Lieutenant Commander or above. Now, this citation should be in memo format because it's basically a letter. in the previous awards, what you are saying is auxiliarist so-and-so did this and this and this. The letter of commendation is slightly different because you're telling that particular person what they did. I note with pride what you did. You are commended. You are hereby authorized to wear this, blah, 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 blah. So think of this as a letter to somebody that has a medal that comes with it. So think of this as a attaboy letter that comes with a medal. All the others are specific medals with citations. Some final thoughts. If no one has received an award in your flotilla, in your division, in your directorate in the last year or two, somebody needs to be asking why. Is it because we're not doing anything, which is entirely possible, or is it because someone's lazy and dropped the ball? More likely. You can see how easy these things are to do. We should, as leaders, we should all be taking the time and effort to recognize deserving people. And because this is something you wear on your uniform, it is the most visible way for us to recognize our auxiliarists. Something you need to think about. And those, any of you serve on active duty at any time? Okay. So you've got some active duty awards that people tend to recognize. Okay. This is an achievement medal. I'm going to take a wild guess here that you were in the Navy based on the shirt you're wearing. Is that fair, Ben?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you've got a Navy Achievement Medal, as an example, Navy Marine Corps Achievement Medal, and you get and that is your highest award in the Navy, and you get something that's above it that someone in the Coast Guard doesn't recognize, and I'm talking the gold side, they will probably, okay, that guy has something that's higher than an achievement medal, or they might take the time to actually ask, hey, what is that? Or what did you do to get that? And that is a great way to open up conversations, relationships, and better explain to the gold side what the hell it is we do. I spent 30 years in uniform, 27 of which were in the Coast Guard, and the only reason I learned anything about the auxiliary is because in 1998, Dave Cooley, or 97, Dave Cooley came into me when he was the division commander and said, what can we do to be relevant? And I started getting him involved in ICS. The second time I learned more about the auxiliary was when I was the chief of planning for Sector Houston, and the AUXLO worked for me. So I had to learn whether I wanted to or not. The active duty side, by and large, their knowledge of the auxiliary is something beyond abysmal. They just don't know. Either they haven't had any engagement with them, or they've had engagement and it hasn't been a good engagement. But this is just another way to open up those engagements. Once again, any auxiliarist can initiate recognition for another auxiliarist, and personal awards are the best way to do it. If you need any assistance, give me a shout. Now, anytime I do an award, I create a folder for the recipient. It might say Aux Don Brown. I think I have one or two of those folders on my computer. It'll say Aux Don Brown, Aux AM, and then I might put the either the month, if it's something like a award for a period of time, or I might put a storm number or a storm name or a spill name or something like that if it's something like that. And in that folder, I have the 1650, I have the award citation, or if it's a LOC, I have the memo format there. And if it's a narrative, If it's something higher than an MSM, I put the narrative in there. And I keep those because somewhere down the road, I'm going to need that again. For example, everyone here is taking your ICS training. Everyone here knows what a resource unit leader does. The first resource unit leader I put in for an award was back in 1994. Okay? Every time we have a major event, someone is serving as the resource unit leader. And almost every one of those awards has the same general verbiage. Because if you look at the incident management handbook, what the resource unit leader does is right there. If I'm not mistaken, there's a chaplain technical specialist listed in there. There's a CISM person there, and there's a couple other roles that you may have there. So use those lines right out of that to help you write the award. If you can put in the more specifics you can put in there, instead of there's worked countless hours, there's worked over 100 hours, and there's worked 127.5 hours. While all of them could be an award and can be approved, putting down that someone worked 127.5 hours is going to show a lot more effort was put into the award than just a bunch of glossy terms. You need to put down not only what the person did, but what their impact was. And if it involves money or resources or number of people, put that in as well.
Joe, can I
If
make
you're
a
doing
quick comment?
something, go ahead, Don.
I was going to say too, the awards you all need to get done post haste that Mo is looking for will be a little easier on this. You still got to what they did, but these are basically end of tour awards for your subordinates. So you can say for the past 2 years, this is, so you do have that that time frame and so on, and you're probably going to be focused more on the commendation or the achievement, perhaps on the meritorious, but certainly on the achievement and the commendation for their tour as a branch assistant or as a branch chief in the ACS program for the past 2 years for this term.
So, with that, what do we have for questions?
Yeah, Don, I have a question. John Zink here. When does the actual term end for the branch assistants?
The branch assistants are January 1 to December 31st. For the only ones that are different would be for the director and deputy, and theirs are November 1 to October 31st. So it is the calendar year. So if we're closing out, so it would be 1 January of 25 to December, do my math, December 31st of 26. Is that going to be 2 years? I think that would be correct. I think that's how that would work. So yeah, it's for 2 calendar years below the director level.
Okay, so basically all of our awards are going to be for the 2-year time frame.
At least these end of tour ones. That doesn't mean, I want to reinforce what Joe said. If you've got somebody who's doing a good job, good grief, put them in for an award. And I had this argument, God love him, with Chaplain Poole. Oh, we can't do this. It's like, come on. Why not? This is going to cost a little bit of paper, a little bit of toner, and some ink. Well, we gotta, and I can guarantee you that Chaplain Bowden and Chaplain Mills really want to make this, want awards to go through. So I think they're going to be very cooperative. So these end of tours are the ones we really need, and they're due July 1. So we're cutting that real close. And then any others, and please, send them up, man. That's as Joe said, it's the only, it's the paycheck.
Yeah. And to whom do we send them?
If you will send them to me, well, at first you send them in, if you are in, I will get them mixed up. We have our, if you are below a division chief, get it to the division chief. If you are a division chief, then you send them on to me, but the division chief will check it over and send it up. I'm going to review it.
Basically from us, it's all going to go to Ben.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Ben. And like I said, I'll check, once he sends it to me, I'll check it, send it to Mo. And I think the turnaround at headquarters is going to be
quick.
Fairly quick. And again, you're probably looking at somewhere between a commendation, you're probably an achievement or a commendation in there, and just look at what seems to be. And if they've really done something extraordinary, the worst that can happen is you put them in for a meritorious and they say, give them. So
they could always knock it down.
Yeah,
I've even seen it raised a couple times, but more often than raising it, it'll get knocked down occasionally. And usually when they knock it down, they only knock it down one level. I've only seen a handful, including one of mine, got knocked down more than one level.
So can you show that slide again with you had the ribbons with the ones we're looking at? Because that would be helpful, Don, in terms of what you just said.
Yep.
And they are in the Oxman too. You can look them up in the Oxman or just search U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary Awards. And they just did, I found out when I had a new rack of ultra thins put together for an event, they just changed the order of precedence for some below this level. No, I'm not. The Sustained Service Award dropped in the.
I always thought that was too high.
Yeah, I could go look at the printout of my rack, but it was irritating.
Well, I'm not spending that much money to change my rack anytime soon.
I hadn't done it in 3.5 years, so it was about time.
But a quick funny story. One time I was actually putting my rack together over Christmas, and I was doing the entire thing, the ribbon rack, the miniature medals, the full-size medals, and my father said, "Hey, I want to get this for you." And I'm like, "Dad, no," and he insisted, and I'm like, "Dad, no, please, you don't understand." He goes, "No, I want to do it." And he did it. And he said, "I'm not going to do this for your brother." Because it was significantly higher than he thought it was going to be.
And then if you're going to have need for the miniature medals, it just sort of exponentially adds to the cost. So the two you're really looking at are on most likely the second row, the achievement and the commendation for an end of tour. Mo at the end of his tour might get, and I don't think unless I know Phil has received 1 or 2 Legion of Merits, but generally you're going to have to at least be a director for at least a tour, if not 2, to get a Legion of Merit. The MSM is
you better have a hurricane or a major oil spill, or you're filling in for the chaplain of the Coast Guard for 4 months or something like that.
And realize too, if you're gonna put them in for that, your citation, you need to, not that you shouldn't be writing it to be perfect for Chaplain Mills and Bowden, but it's likely to go to the desk of the Vice Commandant of the Coast Guard. And so just realize if you're going to do an MSM or a Legion of Merit, that's where that's gonna land. So probably spell everything correctly, and it's be as
Use
detailed.
spell check. If
Spell
you
check.
can get 3 or 4 bullet points,
Right.
you should be able to dump the information into Chat GPT or whatever one you use and have it regurgitate something that meets the standard of the Coast Guard auxiliary awards policies that you can just copy right over and use. I've done it, so I know it works.
And we have time to correct. We're doing this early. People still have roughly 6 months in their tour and whatever job they're in. There's time. Go, okay, we need to adjust. We can, we can polish the cannonball as necessary to get them perfect. But please start working on them as soon as possible. The other thing, and not in this necessarily in this case, but one thing, Joe, just to make mention of, particularly is the operational distinguishing device. I don't think that would apply just for an end of tour, but
It typically does not. You basically need an incident or an event for that.
right.
But
But if there is something,
if you have a chaplain who's doing something with OpSale or the insanity we're going to see in Philadelphia next week, that may be something you get an O device for.
right.
Um,
Um, I have a couple of questions. Well, I got one question and one observation. We may have some members who already have the commendation and auxiliary, and so there's certain verbiage that involves the gold star. Can you elaborate on that?
For every subsequent award, gold star in lieu of a second, gold star in lieu of a third, gold star in lieu of a fourth, gold star in lieu of a fourth. So you could have, I'm doing a little math in my head. You could have up to 4 stars and an O on a ribbon. Once you get to 4 gold stars, you then replace all of those with a silver star for a silver star in lieu of a 6th.
And there is a box on the 1650, correct on that?
For that, yeah.
And if you
And
need to know that, you can see it in aux data. You can look the person up and look at their awards.
but most of the time when you see that many gold stars, it's either on one of the team commendations or a unit commendation, or it's someone who is a professional magnet for feces, like the person giving this training. But it's rare when you see that many.
Right.
Yeah. So I just wanted to highlight the star issue, but my more serious question is that in my time in the Navy, I often, like perhaps yourself and Don, have encountered personalities who are like, well, I'm not sure if we should submit an award, yada yada. I mean, they're kind of stingy or very passive aggressive about supporting. What is your thoughts about going over the individual's head to push that nomination through?
You better be ready to risk being placed under investigation or something. And I'm
Okay.
speaking on that from experience. It's kind of tough to do that. Now, if someone above the chain asks you and you think, hey, I put this in as a meritorious service medal, but it was knocked down, and if they ask you, that's one thing. But if it gets knocked down, you shouldn't. I would not recommend pushing it up the chain. If you do it right, then it probably will not be knocked down.
Okay.
But you have to have it well supported, well written. That's why I said if anyone needs any help, I will gladly help you with that. With that said, the Coast Guard is up there with the Marines being the stingiest of the services when it comes to awards. When I first got in the Coast Guard, my captain, my office chief retired 2 months later, and his retirement award was a commendation medal, which is he retired as a senior 06, and his retirement award was a commendation medal. I left the Army as a first lieutenant with a commendation medal. A retirement award for a Army Master Sergeant is typically at least an MSM, if not a Legion of Merit. We are very, very stingy when it comes to awards. And the auxiliary is even more stingy than the active duty side. The active duty side has gotten a lot better since I was a junior officer, but the auxiliary still has a ways to go. And something that I tell people is if you put the award together such that all they have to do is read it, say, I agree with this, and sign it, then that's the way it should be written. If you're not familiar with the doctrine of completed staff work, I'll attach that to the stuff I'll send to Don to get out to all of you. I try to make everything signature ready so my boss or the awarding authority or whoever it is who's above me can look at it and sign it without having to make any changes to it.
Joe, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
We have several in the Atlantic area, several auxiliaries who have deployed on active duty missions, and there doesn't seem to be an award that fits that. Some of these guys have already got a achievement awards, etc. But is there something specific for people who've deployed?
If they deploy to an incident on board a cutter to an event, perfect example, Hurricane Harvey that hit Houston back in 2017. We had 73 auxiliarists who got awards out of that. 71 of them were signed by the sector commander. 2 of them were signed by the division commander, because those were the 2 MSMs. If you have someone deploy on a cutter for 3 months, if you have somebody go to an oil spill, a massive flood or hurricane or something, it will typically be the operational commander that signs off on those. I've actually, anytime I go to an event where I'm either the planning section chief or the deputy assistant junior flunky, I'll pull out my award stuff and start putting it together in some spare time so that when the time comes, I can turn to either the senior auxiliarist there or the operational commander and say, here are the awards. And more often than not, I not only, for instance, in Hurricane Laura, I did not only all the auxiliarist awards, I did all the active duty awards and had them all done and ready for signature for the captain before I demobilized. And the only one she didn't get was the one that I sent to the admiral for her.
One thought too on that, Ben, is that even if, okay, they already have a commendation, they would get this would be a type of situation where you get a commendation with the operational
For the
device.
stuff. Oh, okay.
Plus, it's a subsequent award. I would also suggest, for a couple of good reasons, and I just got a picture yesterday was it Monday? This week's been a blur, I'm sorry, of Chaplain Jarrett receiving, and I can't remember if it was, I'll have to look at it closely, a commendation. I think it was a commendation from the sector chaplain that he works for the Kerrville flood. He just got presented that, surprised him, and he got that award. You might, if you're going to do one of the operational ones,
Send it through the operational commander.
yeah, or at least through the relevant gold side chaps and get them engaged with that um, that good communication. And it doesn't hurt when you're doing these to communicate with your gold side counterpart. But I would say, okay, Tom Walcott, 2 weeks on the Eagle, filling in. And some people have done longer than that, but 2 weeks on the Eagle, um, that's not a minor deal. Um, an award with the O, of course, Tom has tons of awards, but get the sector chaplain or whatever, maybe, or in the case of the Eagle, the Lant area cutter forces chaplain to maybe become part of that. But that would at least get them an O if they don't already have an award with an O on it. That's just sort of uh, my thought, because that O is kind of pretty, and so are the gold stars, and uh, that you can do. But there's nothing that stops the sector chaplain, the district chaplain, the area chaplain, or for the chaplain of the Coast Guard just to decide she loves us so much that she's going to give us, a meritorious team commendation. A few years ago, we got the Humanitarian Service Award, and that was Chaplain Walcott that put us in for that. So they can do this in parallel. Of particular import right now is these end of tour ones. But again, don't hesitate. If you've got an ACS doing great work, or if you've got a gold side chaps calling you saying, man, this guy is good, or she's wonderful, I'm getting great feedback, say, why don't you put them in for an award? I'll help you write it. They just don't know what our awards are. They don't understand necessarily what we're doing. So back to Joe, you could even help write it for them and go a long way to make somebody happy.
And Don, like I said, you may want to reach out to Chaplain Bowden just to find out if she has the same signature or award approval authority as a captain, or if because of her position, she might be treated as a similar to a flag officer, at
I'll
least
ask her
the
tomorrow.
MSM.
We
Because
have a town hall tomorrow afternoon, so I will ask Chaplain Bowden. If nothing else, I know she has the HOV lane shortcut to the
yeah,
vice commandant and to the commandant. We had an issue with a directive that we weren't getting to the auxiliary, and it was put out, and then the National Commodore didn't agree with this, and so we got to run it through BSX. So Chaplain Bowden heard about that, and it was signed by the commandant or the vice commandant, which is
is that the one that came out this week?
no, it's been out a bit, having to do with and of course there's still some squabbling on the aux leadership side, not the chaplain, but who can be members of the national flotilla. We've had issues with folks. Initially, it was everybody come. Anybody could be in that. It is changing out of necessity to being those folks who are qualified ACS chaplains or will be qualified within 12 months, with a narrow window for some leadership specialists. I think maybe HR and IS perhaps. But basically, we had issues with people. I got a Dirox letter saying I'm in the chaplain's flotilla. Thus, I have a Dirox letter saying I'm a chaplain. And it's like, no. Oh,
Yeah,
yes, I
we've
am.
been doing the same thing on the emergency management side, is to, if we want to take the incident management teams, the auxiliary incident management team, and make it a separate flotilla.
I honestly, my 2 cents worth is don't do it. But I think our flotilla would be a lot stronger if it were doing, it would be much more akin to why it was brought into existence. if it were limited. Again, there was some trouble on the aux leadership side, that senior auxiliary leadership weren't sure about this, and then what Chaplain Bowden's authority is, this, that, and the other. And I, for one, on the record, am not ever going to question what Chaplain Bowden's leadership authority is. But yeah, we will get clarity on that. My belief is that she can sign at the 06 level, but if she needs a flag, headquarters is full of flags, so she will get the flag to sign the paperwork. Just note that and this is the other reason to get them in early, if you're going to give an award that requires a flag signature, just expect that it's going to take a little longer to process. And I'm not saying don't go for it, just don't expect that it's going to be necessarily back in 10 days or 2 weeks or something.
Don, I have one more question. I'm sorry to keep asking, but so the Mo's emphasis is end of tour. We had a bunch of gaps in D1 here in the Northeast District, and so there's a bunch of shifting. And so, quite honestly, I'm not sure which of my guys and this happened a couple other areas too. I'm not sure which in the Atlantic area of my branch assistants are actually ending their tour, right? I'm not sure where they are in their terms.
Well, they will, all the national staff positions will turn over
At the same time.
well, almost at the same time. As I said before, and I don't understand why, but Mo and I, for example, turn over November 1. Everybody else turns over on January 1. So there's a little difference in the turn to pumpkin time. But if you have a gapped one, let's say they've done 9 months in the position, put the actual date, and you can consider whether, if they'd done 2 years, you would have given them what's the commendations a little higher. You might do the achievement since it was a smaller chunk, but definitely put in the correct time. But we all turn into pumpkins more or less at the end of the year. So that's
Okay. I didn't realize every single person was the same schedule. Okay.
yeah. Now, if you had somebody that did a year and a half and has already stepped down, if you want to do an award on that, put the
Put 'em in.
dates in, relevant dates specifically.
Okay.
But yeah, we all turn into pumpkins at the end of this year. So does the National Commodore and so forth.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, I don't know why a few positions do it 2 months early, but
Yeah. Cool.
I was hired for my looks. I don't know.
We'll talk about that later.
But the biggest thing, and first off, Joe, thank you. Joe's a great guy, and his motivation. He lives and breathes this stuff, and he knows it backwards and forwards, and he means it. If you want to talk to him about something, he means it. So if you have a question as you're going through this, he's better even than Chat GPT. I'll give you his phone number. You can reach out and talk to him.
Why would you give them my phone number? It's in aux data. I'm sorry.
Well,
I have to educate my flotilla commander occasionally.
I'm terrible at that. But anyway, just think about the thing you're doing. We're pastors by and large, and we probably learned that things go better in your church if every so often you do something nice for the church secretary. Things will just move better and you'll have fewer problems. This is a way in which you can do something nice for the people that are, at the varying levels, working awfully hard to make our program the benchmark program that it is, and keep it going and hopefully keep it growing. So just do your best, stay positive, and get something down. Send it to me. I'll look at it. If I have a question, I'll check aux data and call Joe, or I'll just check my phone and call Joe and say, okay, what do you think here? I'm not intending to kick things back. I don't like that. In fact, I think that discourages in some cases. Well, if I put it in, they'll just kick it back. I want you to succeed with these. I want them to go through um, because they're important. So
Well,
do
the,
your best and get it to them.
yeah, I think the error rate or the kickback rate should be near zero. I mean, if we're only looking at three sentences,
Yeah.
and everything else has been templated out in the top and then at the beginning and at the end.
None of you have gone
Um,
to Texas A&M, have you? Okay, all right. So that's well, it's okay then. You didn't go. You're not an Aggie, so it's. But yeah, three sentences. You ought to be able to. You ought to be able to come up with something that. Uh, although I have to say, Joe has some wonderful wordsmithing he's done. I've forgotten when I called him and
Degree in
said,
history helps a lot.
well, I ditto. What was mine? I really that I'd heard that first time, and I tried to use with a bias toward action or a bias toward operations, and I'm like, ooh,
And I'll once I learned, I had a commanding officer who used to read the awards himself instead of having someone else read them. And once I found out that he could not pronounce the word myriad, I put that in every freaking award I sent up. And he eventually got to the point of reading the award. He'd come up to it, he'd pick his head up, he'd look at me, and he'd end it with, and that M word Lieutenant Leonard always uses. He
well,
retired with 3 stars, but couldn't pronounce myriad.
yeah, I love. Well, I want to tell you a quick story, and this just tells you how emotional these can be and how powerful. It's now coming up on 2 years ago that I was ending my tour as a division chief. And I heard from the district chaplain, who's now the '06 chaplain at the academy. And she was like, and also from the supervisor, the sector chaplain, we want to put you in for something. And I'm like, can you? And she asked some. First, she had the sector chaplain ask questions. She didn't get what she wanted. She called to me. She didn't tell me exactly what she was up to. But several months later in December, I got called and said, we're meeting for lunch. Uh, uh, she wants to have lunch with us over by Sector Houston Galveston at the Potbelly Sandwich store, which is where she always wanted to eat. And I'm noticing there's whispering going on. And I'm like, her? We got to Sector after having lunch. And immediately the sector chaplain said, I got to show you the new gym. You work out. I need to show you. They renovated the gym. And about 10 minutes into it, I knew I was being managed, but I didn't know what the hell was going on. I walk back toward the lobby at sector headquarters, and there's a column of people coming down the stairs and out the main entrance, and more whispering. And then the sector commander and deputy come out, and I was good friends with the sector commander. And I said, what is going on? And he goes, just watch. And they lined everybody up out in front of sector and called him to attention to awards and read out, called me up front and read out. And I mean, it was for a meritorious. I filled in as two sectors as sector chaplain and done some other things, but I wasn't expecting the award, not only because it was too soon after we had talked, but I also wasn't ready for the emotion of that moment, and that really meant a lot to me. I mean, I don't walk around going, see, I've got this award. I have somebody that walks behind me and holds the award up, but a couple of people with herald trumpets. But it was very emotional. It meant a lot when that when that happens. So think about that as to these awards, how they're going to affect the people you put them in for, and also the awards that end of tour you all are going to be receiving and how they're going to feel for you. So I mean, this is powerful stuff, and it's fun to do. Awards are, it's like giving away Christmas presents. It's fun. So
Well, it is our pay. So
it is. Yeah, well, and it's funny that the times that when you find when you're paid, and I think I believe in my careers in ACS, I've been paid in like 50-cent increments in the coffee mess more times than I care to remember. Hey, chaps, can I buy you a cup of coffee? Hey, chaps, can I buy you a cup of coffee? Or, things like that where, you get paid, may not be union scale, but it's pretty good stuff. And this is good stuff here. So any other questions? And we'll wrap at the approximately 1 hour. I'm having microphone problems.
Again, Don will have my contact email and phone number for my signature block when I send him the stuff. Give me a shout anytime. You're not going to bother me saying, "Hey, I need help with this award," and you shoot it to me, and I'll have it back to you either by close of business that day or the next day at the latest.
On a separate issue, Joe, later in the week or this weekend, I'd like to reach out to you to discuss ICS emergency management in another hat that I wear in the auxiliary. So, and I could find your phone number in the auxiliary directory.
Hey, I'm available. Just give me a shout anytime.
All right. Well,
Right.
if there are no further questions, reminder tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern, per Mo's email earlier today, Chaplain Bowden's having her monthly town hall. And if he is correct, supposedly the Commandant's going to be there to talk about uniforms. So we'll try to be there and be there on time and let the Commandant know we care. And just a reminder too, we do have chaps coming up again in DC here in early September. And I hope we can all get together and an opportunity to try not to get killed on the streets of DC and maybe go break some bread together and have time of fellowship. So
we ought to go we need to go to the reflecting pool. That's a must-see place.
yeah, that's all right. Well,
That's dark, Ben. That's
Is that a
dark.
political statement, Ben?
No, just hey, I was stationed down in DC for a number of years. I used to run around the reflecting pool and just. So,
I think that's a great idea. You should go there and see which of you is really closest to your boss and see who can park the reflecting pool.
Ben, try putting some coffee in there. Will that help you, Algie?
it might stimulate it.
I was thinking, since I've seen that pink dinosaur with the sign, I thought I might bring my T-Rex costume and walk around there. It's green, kind of algae colored, but I don't really want Chaplain Bowden to have to come see me in jail.
Yeah. We could give life jacket demonstrations.
She's a Navy chaplain. It's not the first time she'll have visited a jail. Trust me.
Oh no, this is true. She was an FMF chaplain, so
Exactly.
Well, I mean, since we are chaplains, we ought to be able to walk on the water, especially since the algae is.
Pretty soon, it's pretty solid. Hey, look, gentlemen, I gotta go.
Yep.
All right. Thank you all.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Good night. Thank you, ciao.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.